This is Sandhya. I'm back with another chapter. Today we will continue with history, India and the contemporary world too of class 10th, and the chapter which we will discuss is The Making of a Global World part 2. Dear children, history is essential subject as it constitutes a crucial subject of your social science. The children, history is a theoretical subject. So, you need to write excellent answers. And scoring good marks in history is vital as scoring in other subjects. So, I have covered all the concepts in this session. You can score more marks in your history exam by go through this video lecture. Dear children, let us move on to the session. Dear children, globalization has a long history and point to shift within the processes. Globalization is experienced differently by different social groups. From the mid 19th century, the rapid industrial growth increased the income of Britain. So, now Britain could import more food. Around the world, in Eastern Europe, Russia, America, and Australia, lands were cultivating food to export it into Britain. Not only the lands were cleared, but railway lines were also laid and new harbors were built to link the agriculture regions. Dear children, soon people had to get settled on a land in order to cultivate them. Therefore, the rate of building homes and settlements arose. For this, there was a huge need for finance and labor. This led to flow of capital from London and supply of labor in America and Australia. Such a situation led to the migration of about 50 million people from Europe to America and Australia in the 19th century. Dear children, it is estimated that about 150 million people around the world left their homes for a better future. So, by 1890s, a global agricultural economy came into being. It was accompanied by the various types of labor movement patterns and capital flows, and not only these, ecologies and technology. So, now food didn't come from a nearby villages or towns, but from a far off distances. The agricultural workers started working on the land, and all the agricultural regions were linked by the railways, ports, etc. The ships which took the food grains were generally manned by low paid workers from southern Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean. Dear children, let us move on to the session. The Making of a Global World Part 2. As we discussed before all these things, now all these changes were also observed in the West Punjab but a similar scale. The British government developed the canal system in order to transfer a semi-desert area into fertile land. It was done so in order to grow cotton and wheat in order to export it. Not only food, but cotton and rubber were also cultivated to be used by Britain. Dear children, the production of these goods increased rapidly. Then the world trade during 1820s to 1914s was estimated to have multiplied from 25 to 40 times. Around 60% of the trade comprised of primary products. The agricultural products such as wheat, cotton and minerals like coal. Now, we know about the role of agricultural products in shaping the world economy. Let's talk about the role of technology in shifting of the world economy which we see today. Technology had a great impact on the transformation of 19th century world, such as railways and steam and telegraph. Technological advances were often the results of social, political, and economic factors. Dear children, technology plays an important role in the growth of the world economy. The invention of railways and steamships and telegraph played an important role in transforming the 19th century world. Dear children, the advancement in technology was due to various social, political, and economic factors. For instance, the colonization by various European powers increased the demand of improved and transportation such as faster railway, larger ships, and so on, as this would facilitate the quick and cheap movement of agricultural products to distant places. The meat trade is one of the finest example of this connected process. Earlier, the animals were shipped alive from America to Europe. This was not a profitable venture for most of the time for some reasons. What are those? One of that, the livestock used to take up more space, and most of them died and fell ill or caught diseases, which resulted in their being unfit to be consumed. Not only this resulted in the rise in price of meat, but during those days, consumption of meat by the poor was almost an important thing. Why? Because soon this problem sorted with the introduction of ships with refrigerators. It had some benefits. One of that, the meat could be shipped in large quantities, resulting in the cost cutting of the transportation. Not only this, but it was easy to handle the perishable meat for a longer time. The price of the meat reduced. This allowed the poor to consume meat as their daily diet. Dear children, so we can say that the 19th century experienced exchange of goods, capital, labor, and all such exchanges were further facilitated by the improvement in technology. But as the world was shrinking due to the improved transportation, the growth of imperialism was also experienced during this time. Various European powers were establishing their colonies in different countries, which would serve their businesses in the home country. Let us have discuss about this late 19th century colonialism. Into labor's migration from India and labor's causes of migration of Indian workers, the interwar economic, technological transformations, and Bretton Woods institutions. Dear children, this time, the 19th century, trade flourished and markets also expanded. But this period is not remembered for the expansion of trade and economic prosperity only, but also for the dark side to this process. In many parts of the world, the growth and expansion of trade brought some of the disadvantages, such as loss of freedom and livelihood. It was so because during this century, Europeans gained control over various territories of the world and formed their colonies. In 1885, the European powers, after gaining control over Africa, democrated their respective territories. For this purpose, they met in Berlin to complete the division process of Africa between them. And Britain and France were the ones that had established their control over vast overseas territories in the last 19th century. Belgium and Germany rose as the new colonial powers. Later, in 1890s, US became a colonial power by gaining control over the territories held by Spain. The colonization by the European powers led to a destructive impact on the lives of the people who were the residents of these colonies. Dear children, so how were their lives impacted? Just let us discuss about that. As discussed earlier, the colonial rule impacted the lives of the various people who were the residents of these colonies. But the question arises as to how does this happen and what is this plague. Let us talk about that. Dear children, well, this plague was a cattle disease which spreads in Africa in the 1890s, leading to a deep impact on the lives of the livelihoods of Africans. Dear children, to understand this, we should first know how Africa used to be before its colonization. Dear children, historically, Africa had vast land and a relatively small population. For centuries, the African people were dependent on the Africa people, lands, and only livestock, as their needs were fulfilled with the land and livestock. No one of them had ever worked for wages. So, when Europeans entered Africa, they were unable to get laborers for themselves because no one was ready to work for the wages. So, in order to get laborers, they started using forceful methods like increasing taxes that could be paid only if the Africans work for wages. Later on, the ownership rights of land were limited up to only one member. As a result, other members were pushed into the labor market. Mine workers were kept colonized in the compounds and were not allowed to move freely. While all this was on a go, the cattle plague arrived in Africa in the 1880s. It came with the infected cattle that were imported from British Asia in order to feed the Italian soldiers invading, and in East Africa the pest, the disease very soon moved towards west from east than towards Atlantic coast in 1892. The children, it reached the Cape 5 years later. It is estimated that this disease killed 90% of the cattle. As loss of cattle destroyed the livelihoods of Africans, this resulted into the increase in supply of wages and labor for the planters, mine owners, and colonial government who can now monopolize the cattle resources to strengthen their powers. Similar incidents happened in other parts of the world that were conquered by the Western countries. The story of this bonded labor also serves as a best example to explain the two sides nature of the 19th century world. Dear children, did you got the point? On one side, it shows the fast growing economies, and on their other, it shows the great misery. Some were becoming wealthier and other poorer. There was technological advancement in some areas and new forms of downfall in large number of Indians and Chinese laborers went to work on plantation, mines and rails and roads and construction projects around the world. Dear children, the Indian laborers were held under contracts with the condition of return travel to India after the completion of 5 years of the employees plantation. Dear children, all these things affected the lives of people so badly that they became deeply indebted and hence were forced to leave their homes in search of work. Some of the most wished places by the Indians migrants were the other Fiji areas and Thailand, these places. And Tamil migrants generally choose the nearby places like Malaya and other places and plantation in Assam. The recruitment was generally carried on by various agents who charged their commission from that only. These agents tried to tempt the workers by showing them non-real dreams about the good working condition and good wages. So the workers saw these jobs as an opportunity to come out of poverty and misery. But they were generally unaware about the real truth of harsh working conditions and low wages in these places of work. The children, in some cases, the workers were forcefully to work by these agents, as life at these places was harsh and full of difficulties. The workers discovered their own ways of surveying. Some of them escaped from these places. Those who were caught were severely punished. Others decided to be a part of the new culture and prevailing at these places. And some of other workers did not came back in India but only for a short span and then they left again for their new homes. That is why we still found people from India and origin residing at these places. The children, through they had started relating themselves with the new culture, but still know that their lives were full of hardship. Dear children, so in order to protect the rights of such workers, Indian nationalist leaders began opposing the system of this labor migration as abusive and cruel. So, till now, we know that colonization led to the bringing of the concept of labor which forced workers to move to far off places in search of work. But the movement by people was not only due to the workers but also because they wanted to invest in the flourishing trade market in order to earn high fortune. So, who were they? And they were the Indian entrepreneurs. The children, as we have already discussed that food and crops were being grown by various countries to be exported, but this required capital. Large plantations could borrow it from banks and markets, but what about the poor peasants? These peasants used to borrow money from Indian bankers and remaining naukaris, important bankers or money lenders who used to provide money for export agriculture in Central and Southeast Asia. The funds provided by them were either their own or borrowed funds for European banks. They had to sophisticated system to transfer money over large distance and even developed endogenous forms of corrupted and organizations or corporate organizations. With the development of safe and comfortable passenger vessels, the Indian traders were able to establish their shops and busy ports and worldwide through which they sell local and important products to tourists and others. Dear children, so now we know about colonialism, the flourishing of world trade under it, the adversities and faced by the people and how the Indian traders and money lenders begin to benefit from it. Now, we will talk about the Indian trade with respect to colonialism and world trade. Let us discuss about this. Dear children, 30% of share of Indian cotton in the trade market during 18, which declined to 15% by 1815. Dear children, historically, the fine Indian cotton was in huge demand in Europe, but with the development of technology and growth of industries, British cotton manufacturers began to expand. As British industrialists were facing too tough competition from the Indian cotton, so forced the government to impose the restrictions on the import of cotton in Britain. This resulted in the decline of the Indian cotton export. In the beginning of the 19th century, British traders started exporting their products into various countries. This led to a tough competition for the Indian textiles, a cotton producers, as there were no taxes for the British producers. This led to a decline in the trade share of the Indian textiles. For instance, there was some 30% of share of Indian cotton in the trade market during 18, which declined to 15% by 1850s. By the 1870s, this production dropped below 3%. When India was experiencing decline in the export of furnished products, it also saw the increase in export of raw materials. So, between 1812 and 1871, the share of raw cotton export rose from 15% to 35%. Indigo used for dyeing cloth was another such product that was exported from many decades. The export of opium to China grew rapidly in 1820s. Britain grew opium in India and exports in the China in order to earn income. This income was then used to import tea and other products from China. Dear children, the new things which was observed in the 19th century was that Britishers were importing products from India at low cost and exporting finished products at very high cost. The Britain had a trade surplus. This means that its income was higher than its expenses. So, Britain was higher than its expenses. So, Britain started using these surpluses in order to cover its trade reflect with other countries. Britain's trade surplus other helped in paying off the other expenses of Britain such as and depend and opium. Dear children, so now we know how the world trade grew and took a new shape. Its associations with forced labor and colonization gave it a new shape. But soon this led to the new war between various economies as now everyone wants to earn more and more and they want to have more share in the world trade. Their children, so conflicts resulted in World War One. So how does it impacted the whole world? Let's check this. Those who were killed or injured were generally the men of working age. These deaths reduced the workforce in Europe. Dear children, the First World War 1914 to 18 was fought in Europe, but it impacted the whole world. The war created economic and political instability at a worldwide level. To understand this, we have to first know that the facts of the war and then we will discuss about economy. Dear children, the First World War was fought between two powers, Alliance and the Central Powers. They were later joined by the US. On the other side were the Central Powers, Germany, Austria, Hungary and Ottoman Turkey. The war, which was supposed to end with a few months, lasted up to 4 years. This war proved to be very destructive as it saw the use of machine guns, tanks and aircraft, chemical weapons, etc. on a Large scale, all these were the products of modern large scale industry. To fight the war, millions of soldiers were recruited from around the world and were taken to the actual places. The war took lives of around 9 million peoples and 20 millions were injured. Such a large number of casualties were seen in any of the war before. Dear children, these who were killed or injured were generally the men of working age. These deaths reduced the workforce in Europe. As there were only a few members left in the families, households, incomes declined after the war. The children, the war led to restricting of industries into those that produce war related to products, and even the societies were also reorganized. Men went to battle and women stepped out to undertake jobs. As the war had increased expenditure, so the Britain borrowed money from US banks as well as from the US public. This led to change in the position of US from debts to creditors and also prosperity of the US citizens. Dear children, the war had generated a situation of economic crisis in various countries which had led to huge loss of men and money. So now the question arises as to how did these economies recover from it? Let us discuss about post-war economic recovery. Britain had taken huge amount of loans from at very high rates from interest, which resulted in the huge external debts from the economy. Dear children, post-war economic recovery was not an easy task. Britain, that was once a prosperous economy before the war, was now in a situation of crisis. This was because when Britain was busy in war, the industries in Japan and India developed. So, after the war, Britain found it difficult to regain its control over the Indian market, and also it was unable to compete with Japan in the industrial market. Moreover, Britain had taken huge amounts of loan from the US at very high rates of interest, then which resulted in the huge external debts on the economy. During the war, the economy had experienced boom as there was an increase in demand, production and employment. So, in the US recovery was quicker as we know that war helped in boosting the US economy. Therefore, after a short period of difficulty, the US economy resumed a strong growth in the early 1920s. One of the reasons behind the growth of the US economy was the concept of mass production in the 1920s. It was first used by a famous car manufacturer, Henry Ford. He took this idea from the assembly lines of a Chicago, and where the slaughtered animals were picked apart by butchers as they came down a conveyor belt. So he applied this concept of assembly lines to his new car and planned in that place. His view was that the assembly lines methods will allow quicker and cheaper way of protecting vehicles. The concept of the assembly line would allow the workers to work in a set limits of time that would make the production process faster and allow the workers to gain expert in a particular task. And it was assumed that production increased and Ford's cars came off the line at a gap of 3 minutes. But the problem arose when workers refused to work as this was impossible for them to match the pace of the work to encourage them for double their daily wages. So it was a risky decision made by him that could lead him to the losses, but it proved to be a profitable venture for him. Not only this, similarly, there was an increase in the demand of refrigerators and washing machines, radios, and gramophone players by the hair purchases system. The children, hair purchases system means when you buy a product on weekly or monthly installments. The increase in demand for houses and consumer goods brought the boom in the economy and led to the prosperity of the US. The demanded and investment in housing and consumer goods created more chances of employment and income. So, in 1923, the US grabbed the largest share of overseas leading. True, US exports triggered the European recovery and world trade and income growth for next few years. It could not last longer. By 1929, the world was facing the economic depression that made a greater impact on the lives of the people. So, what was the Great Depression? Let us discuss about it. Factors responsible for depression and new international economic order NIEO, new economic policy in China and MNCs. Let us discuss about these things. Dear children, the Great Depression was a situation of economic crisis that was caused due to the crash of the stock market in October 1929. So, the Great Depression lasted up to the mid 1930s. During this period, different parts of the world forced decline in production, employment, and income and trade. The exact time and impact of depression and varied across the countries, but most affected were the agricultural regions and communities. It was so because of the fall in the prices of the food grains that prevailed for a long period. Your children, the depression was an outcome of several factors. As we have discussed that agriculture overproduction was a main reason that led to the fall in the price of food grain. So, in order to overcome the problem, the farmers began producing more to cover up their losses. But this proved useless for them as it led to the further reduction of prices of agricultural products. The second reason was the lack of interest in lending loans by the US. In the mid 1920s, US was lending loans easily to the overseas borrowers, but investors become more cautious in lending loans. Dear children, this can understood with the fact that in the first half of 1928, US overseas loans amounted to over $1 billion dollars, and a year later it was only quarter of it. So the withdrawal of US loans created a huge problem for those countries that were dependent on the US for the loans. In Europe, many major banks failed and currencies like pound and sterling completely collapsed. When the US tried to safeguard its economy by increasing the import duty, but troublesome situation it is. Dear children, when we talk about the impact of the depression on India, we can see how the economies of different countries have got integrated by the early 20th century. So, if one part of the world was getting affected by the depression, the other part too was facing the same kind of challenges. During the 19th century, India as a part of British colony was an exporter of agricultural goods and an importer of manufacturers. The depression led to the crash of the market and it severely affected India. India's exports and imports reduced drastically from 1928 to 1934 as the price of products in the international market fall. The prices was so bad that the prices of wheat fell by 50% between 1928 to 1934. The children, as we all know that World War One proved very disastrous for the whole world, while the world was trying to recover from the aftermath. The Second World War broke after the gap of 2 decades of this. The Second World War fought in between 1939 to 1945 was the two powers, the Axis mainly in Germany, Japan, and Italy, and the alliance when Britain, France, the Soviet Union, and the US. This lasted for 6 years on many fronts in many places, over land and once on the air. Once again, the world was turned toward death and the destruction. This time, at least 60 million people, or about 3% of the world's 1939's population, are believed to have been killed directly or indirectly as a result of the war. Large number of people were injured. This time, the difference was that the deaths that took place were that of civilians and not the fighters in the battlefield. Vast part of the Europeans and Asia were destroyed by aerial bomb or aerial attacks. The war proved to be the biggest economic setback for many countries. After this war, two countries rose to their powers. They were the US that emerged as the dominant economic and political and powers in the Western world, and the others was the Soviet Union. The children, Soviet Union had made huge sacrifices to defeat Nazi Germany and had modified and itself from agricultural economy to a world power during the years when the capitalist was trapped in the Great Depression. So, when the world economics found themselves again trapped in this, let us discuss about that. So, when the world economies found themselves again trapped in the depression, but what steps did they took to came out of it? Let us discuss about that post-war settlement and the Woods institutions. To deal with external surplus and deficits in a conference was held in July 1944 at Bretton Woods in New USA. International Monetary Fund and World Bank were set up to finance post-war restructuring. The post-war international economic system is known as Woods system. Dear children, post-war settlement and the Woods institutions, these economists and politicians draw to conclusions after the war was over. The first was that for the sustainment of the industrial society, mass consumption is equally important as the mass production. But here the problem was that for mass consumption there was a requirement of appropriate and stable income. For this, there was a need for stable employment. But again, the problem was that market alone could not guarantee full employment, and consequently, governments would have to step into minimize irregularity of price, output, and employment. So, in short, we can say that the main agenda of the post-war international economic system was to maintain economic stability and full employment in the industrial world. So, in a framework was designed for this at the United Nations, and this conference held in July 1944 at Woods in New Hemisphere, USA. The Woods conference resulted into some issues, but one of that establishment of the International Monetary Fund IMF to deal with external surplus and deficit of its member nations. The second was the formation of the International Bank of reconstruction and development, also known as the World Bank, to finance post-war reconstruction. Dear children, the financial operations of both the IMF and the World Bank began in 1947. Decision-making processes handling by the Western industrial powers, US possessed the right of veto over important decisions of IMF and World Bank. The international monetary system links national currencies and monetary system. The world system is based on fixed exchange rates. In this system, national currencies are pegged to the dollar of the fixed rate. The dollar here has a fixed price of 35 per ounce of gold. So, now we know the IMF and World Bank were created in order to preserve the economic stability and full employment. Now we will see the what economic experienced after the war. Dear children, through the Second World War had came to an end, still there were many countries that were under the European colonial rule. So, in the coming the 2 decades, most of the African and Asian colonies set themselves free from colonialism. But these countries were suffering with the problems like poverty and lack of resources. They had turned into non-development economies because of the plunder they had gone due to the colonial rule. Dear children, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank were formed to meet the financial demands of the industrial countries. They were still not equipped to tackle the problems like poverty and lack of development in the underdeveloped countries. During this period, European and Japan became self-sufficient. So now they were not in the need of IMF or World Bank's help. Then from the late 1950s, the Woods Institution shifted its attention towards the developing countries. Through various colonies had acquired independence, still they were under indirect control of various European powers. Dear children, it was so because they took guidance and help from the rich dominating economies, which in return got cheap access to their valuable natural resources. US serve the best example of it as it managed to exploit developing countries' natural resources at very cheap rate. As most of the developing economies were not growing as fast as the Western economies did not during the 1950s and 1960s. So, they organized themselves into G77 nations and put a demand for a new international economic order, NIEO. By NIEO, their main aim was to have a real control over their natural resources, fair prices for raw material, and better access for their manufactured goods in developed countries' markets. Dear children, so now we know that Western world was developing day by day and the underdeveloped countries were making various attempts to bring growth and developments in their countries. Now, we will discuss the concept of globalization and the end of this words. Dear children, post-world had seen years of stable and rapid growth, but it was not as good as it seemed. For the 1960s, the US began to face the work in and finance and competition issues. Previously, the developing countries could take loans from the international institutions, but now they were forced to take loans from Western commercial banks and private lenders. The children, all this led to the rise of debt crisis in the developing countries, and regions like Africa and Latin America were now facing problems like low income and increased poverty. From the 1970s till the 1990s, industrial world also faced the problem of unemployment. It was so because MNCs began shifting their production operations to low wages Asian countries. Through China had cut itself from the world economy after its independence in 1949 due to the new economic policies in China and the collapse of the Soviet Union and Soviet style communication in Eastern Europe brought the country again into the fold of the world economy. Dear children, as the wages rate was low in China, it became a popular dish for various foreign MNCs. The they started shifting their production lines in China in order to cut their cost. Dear children, the shifting of industries to low wages countries have increased world trade and capital flows. In the past 2 decades, countries like India, China, and Brazil have undergone rapid economic transformations. Dear children, last but not least, time can be your best friend and your worst enemy too, depending on whether you use it or waste it. You decide it. Dear children, this video lecture help us to understand this concept and help us to cover the syllabus and to maintain the flow of study. Dear children, you must take advantage of this opportunity and these concepts easily understanding, and we discussed all the important topics and concepts and dates. Please go through this video lecture again and try to understand the concept. Learning will continue even during this time. Keep learning and stay tuned for more video lectures on social science. Have a nice day. Thank you.